Those changes in the sport. You guys know that recently they went to a 12-team playoff model. We've had one season of the 12-team playoff model. We are going to have one more season of the 12-team playoff model, and then we are going to see expansion. Now, we don't know if they're going to go to 14 teams or if they're going to go to 16 teams. Something tells me that if they go to 14, they will have 14 for a very short period of time, and then they will find a reason to add 2 more teams to get to the 16. So why not just do the heavy lifting right now? Let's just skip the 14 model and let's go right to 16 if that's where this is going to go by the end of the decade. So they are trying to figure out the right way to do this. There are a couple of different ideas that have been proposed. The Big Ten and the SEC, they want to have a guaranteed model that would guarantee them 4 spots in the college football playoff. That means they would get a bigger slice of the pie out of the 16. This obviously doesn't make the SEC or the ACC happy. This also doesn't make the Big 12 happy. Wait, why do you guys get more spots? Why do you guys get more revenue? That is only going to widen the gap and the divide between those 2 conferences and everybody else. There's also infighting between the Big Ten and the SEC. The SEC plays 8 conference games. The Big Ten plays 9 conference games. Wait, we don't get to schedule a patsy in this. We're playing another major Power 5 school while you guys aren't forced to do that. We want you guys to play 9 conference games the way that we play 9 conference games. The SEC is saying, well, we'll do that, but we want certain guarantees and certain provisions to make sure that we get a set amount of teams in the playoffs. Right now, it is all angling on all sides. Everybody is looking out for self. Everybody is trying to ensure that they get themselves the biggest piece of the pie. So, the most recent proposal that has been discussed that I honestly think is the most fair way to do it. There is a model that would ensure if you win your conference, you would make the college football playoff. So it would be a 5+11 model. So if you win the Big Ten, you're automatically in. If you win the SEC, if you win the ACC, the Big 12, if you win the Power 5 spot. So last year, Boise State was that team. One year, it could be UNLV. It could be Liberty. You guys get the point. So those 5 teams would guaranteed make the tournament, and then the rest of the 11 would be decided by a committee, kind of like what we do in college basketball. In college basketball, if you win your conference tournament, you are guaranteed a spot in the NCAA tournament, and then we have a committee to help determine the seeding and the other teams that make it. That is an idea that is being proposed by college football. That, to me, seems the most fair idea to do it, but you already know there's some complaining about it. Now, Brian Kelly actually had a pretty good idea of how he thinks SEC teams should build their schedule. They want to reach an agreement with the Big Ten, and this is how they would like to do every team in the SEC's schedule. This also, I imagine, would be the same schedule for the teams in the Big Ten. You would play 9 games in your conference. You would be mandatory to play 1 team that is in the Big Ten, and then you can play 2 other games. Now, what do those 2 other games look like? Is that Missouri, for example, playing KU or K-State? Or is this Missouri now trying to schedule Buffalo and Boston College to get 2 guaranteed wins to try to ensure that they can always make a bowl game? Now, we'll see what that looks like. But if you were telling me that this is going to be the uniform model that we have going forward in college football, I welcome that. I don't have a problem with major schools playing one of those kind of gimme games. I understand the economics of college sports. Now, you guys know my idea. I'd be perfectly fine if they move that to the spring and replace the spring game with that. Instead of watching Ohio State scrimmage each other, why doesn't Ohio State play a D2 school around the area? You bring people in, you get to simulate the same thing that you simulate during the college or during the spring period, and then you sell tickets to it. People would pay to go to that game. Trust me. You already got people paying to watch Kansas go up against SEMO in a football game. If they're willing to do that in August, why would they not do that in March or April? And then once we get to the actual summer, Once we get to August, then we start to play real games. So you can play one team from another power conference there if you want to keep your rivals. If you want to keep South Carolina and Clemson, you can play that game if you want. If you want Texas to play SMU, you can have that option to do that. And then sure, if you want to play one group of 5 school, we don't have any problem with you doing that. But I am all for uniformity and figuring out a way to get the college schedules to match each other. So if you were saying that Alabama and Ohio State are basically going to have the same format for how they build their schedule, sign me up for it. We're going to play 9 games in our league. We're going to guaranteed play one team from the SEC, and then we have control over the other 2 games that we play, and we got to play a real school. I'm not talking about that Ohio State plays Akron and then plays Tennessee Tech to just get a guaranteed 2-0. No, I'm talking about scheduling real, actual opponents to try to build the best resume possible for inclusion in the college football playoff. I actually don't have any problem if that's how they want to do it, but something tells me that is not how all of them want to do it.
Carrington, you're on the internet the same way I'm on the internet. Have you seen that meme where it's like the world's worst person actually makes a good point? That's how I feel about Brian Kelly right now, having a good idea for the future of college football scheduling. The SEC, first and foremost, needs to join the revolution and play 9 conference games. Once we get over that hurdle, which has surprisingly been a big hurdle, but once we get over that hurdle, you know what we would have? 4 major conferences, and you know we could build? A scheduling matrix. Do you know why the NFL works? They have a scheduling matrix. Hey, last year, the AFC West teams, they all took on the AFC North teams. Or, well, guess what? Now we rotate. They all this year take on the AFC South, and then it works that way. If every team were playing 9 league games, you could set it where 9 league games and then one of your non-cons comes from the scheduling matrix. That means one year, the Big 12, you get the SEC. One year, you get the ACC. One year, you get the Big 10. We'd have to figure out the nitty-gritty of how to, figure out if it's the 12th best ACC team against the 15th best big SEC team. But we could figure that out. And then it's 2 games where you pick who you want to put on your schedule. If you're Missouri and you want to play Kansas for a rivalry game and a big crowd and all those things, go crazy. If you want to put SEMO on the schedule, that's your prerogative. But I think Brian Kelly is so close to having this so right, which is just gross because I'm not a Brian Kelly fan. But if you go to 9 conference games, you can start a scheduling, build for all 4 conferences.
Let me ask you this. No, I'm with you, but let me ask you this. In what world then should UNLV and Boise State be included in the college football playoff if that's the structure that we're talking about? Because if you are telling me, and I don't disagree with you, if you were telling me Ohio State, for example, let's use them, the defending champions, they're going to play 9 Big Ten teams. They're then going to play 1 team in the SEC. Let's pick a team by random. They play Tennessee. They're then going to play 2 other games. I'm guessing they're not scheduling Boise State for one of their non-conference games. How does Boise State ever build a resume where you and I can argue that they should be included in this college football playoff? Because in that world, I don't know what reason you have to schedule Boise State. If you were telling me that we're going to play 10 games against teams from the SEC or the Big Ten in my free time, you know who I'm not scheduling in August or September? I'm not scheduling Boise State because there is no advantage for us to play Boise State. So if we are talking about a world that is going to guarantee that one of these other teams have a spot at the table, you got to tell me why Boise State gets a spot at the table where who's Boise State's schedule going to be in comparison? And how could you make an argument that Boise State, as a team that won the Mountain West, that they are as good as the 4th best team in the SEC? I've seen that team regularly scheduled on a game-in, game-out basis. While I saw Boise State play Colorado State, UNLV, and UTEP for the last 3 months or so. That's where I think those group of 5 schools are going to be tough. Essentially, you have now been boxed out of the schedule matrix. There's not a lot of room for you to go play anybody in that world if now 90% of your schedule is going to be you playing either teams in your own league or now playing one team from the SEC.
I think you're right. The Boise States get screwed in that world. If you're Boise State, you got to, find a team at the bottom of one of the, or the mid-tier one of those power leagues, because you're right. if Ohio State, and we won't even use the SEC, if Ohio State played 9 league games and then the scheduling matrix shifted and they got the ACC, which meant they got to play NC State, a fine whatever school, and they had 2 other non-con games, they're not picking up Boise State. But if you're Boise State and you look at the schedule, you go, oh, in 2027, the Big 12 is playing the ACC, which means those SEC schools are probably not going to schedule those type of teams. Now a Kansas State probably becomes available. Now an Arizona becomes available. And a team that is a mid-tier Power 5 team pops up on your schedule, and then you got to fill your schedule with the other best group of 5s. You got to have Marshall. You got to have Northern Illinois. You got to have UNLV. You got to, go out and find Memphis when they were good that one year. You got to have a schedule that just screams, we beat all the group of 5 teams, and that's how you get included. I also would say, to answer your question with a question, do we think the future of college football is based around what the group of 5 wants to do? Because it feels like every idea we've seen is screw the group of 5 in some form or fashion.
No, you're 100% right. But I think in this, and I think you and I are on the same page more than anything, is they're giving them 1 seat for now. If you were telling me that the SEC and the Big Ten are now going to reach a schedule agreement, if the SEC adds another conference game, they are doing so to benefit themselves. One thing is for sure, there's going to be a lot of arguing in the process before we figure this out and before we can agree on a playoff structure. I don't know why we didn't do this heavy lifting from the very beginning. We're going to have 2 years of a 12-team playoff before we go to a 16-team playoff. None of it makes a lot of sense to me, but college athletics and the way it's structured a lot of times doesn't make sense to me. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. Keep it locked in. You're listening to The Harrison Experience on the Infinity Sports Network.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. Smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos. Fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
The new Sports Radio 910 The Fan now at 105.1 FM.
Your floor's looking old? The solution? 50 Floor, the ultimate flooring experience. Schedule a free in-home consultation and they'll bring hundreds of samples to your home. They have the highest quality hardwood, carpet, laminate, and luxury vinyl with the best warranties in the industry and a best price match guarantee. Make an appointment today, mention promo code PODCAST, and get 50% off your flooring and materials. Save thousands. Call 877-50-FLOOR or visit online at 50floor.com. That's 50floor.com.
Caring for aging loved ones is a testament of devotion and dedication. A time when every new day is more precious than the one before. Pre-planning a celebration of life and paying in advance affords both of you more time to focus on each other, while the details are handled with professionalism and compassion by a partner as dedicated to you as you are to them. We're Dignity Memorial. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
Teddy's air conditioner is a few years old.
Actually, I go by Ted.
But Teddy's wife knows her man is cool.
Her man is Ted.
No, honey, I think he means Herman Services.
She has the family plan with her man.
Herman Services.
For regular tune-ups on the furnace, AC, water heater, and more.
We save money, get preferred service, and the air conditioner works all summer.
Good thing she has a family plan with her man, right, Teddy?
It's Ted.
It's Herman.
Herman Services, 513-SERVICE or hermanservices.com.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Shop Lowe's for Memorial Day deals. Get up to 40% off select major appliances, including Whirlpool. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Like the new Whirlpool French door refrigerator featuring an indoor ice and water dispenser and a refrigerated exterior drawer to keep go-to food items within reach. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 5/15 through 6/18. Selection varies by location. Total savings varies based on purchase amount. See Lowe's.com for details.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
All families are different, and some have parents or children with little to no eyesight. But this doesn't stop them from sharing the work, play, love, and laughter of family life. Eyesight doesn't define a parent, a child, or a family. What counts is being together. Want to learn more? Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
From the Pearson Signature Dealership Studio, this is the new Sports Radio 910 The Fan. Now at 105.1 FM, WRNL Richmond and WRVQ HD2 Richmond. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I keep it all of me. Notice they been calling me. Really ain't no stalling me. So get these haters off of me. So delirious. No, you can't be serious. I know that you hearing this. The Harris and the Carrie had it done. All about the pain. You ain't talking about the crime. You ain't talking about a thing. Man, I got so much to give. I got so much more to gain. When I talk about the love, no, I'm talking about the game. All about the blood.
Good morning. You are listening to the Harrison Experience on the Infinity Sports Network. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very excited to be here with you guys on this wonderful, wonderful Saturday. We got a lot of stuff to get into coming up in today's show. Coming up momentarily, we'll talk about college football, but I want to have this conversation with you guys. I remember the first time that I saw Zion Williamson play, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, this is Charles Barkley with more athleticism. We've never seen anything like this. And I remember thinking that Zion Williamson was going to change basketball. I really thought this at a time. I was super excited that he decided to go to college and go to Duke. And Zion Williamson at a time was my favorite basketball player. That I'm sure if I ask you guys, hey, who is your what if in the NBA? Maybe you say Penny Hardaway. Maybe you say a different NBA player. Maybe your what if Derrick Rose. I think mine's going to end up being Zion Williamson. So Zion Williamson is, I'm going to read you the story, the first headline. A woman has accused Zion Williamson of rape in addition to, quote, sexual, physical, emotional, and financial abuse over the span of a multi-year relationship. The woman, who is identified as Jane Doe, accused Williamson of, quote, continuing a pattern of abusive, controlling, and threatening relationship over the course of a relationship that started during Williamson's freshman year at Duke and lasted from 18 to 23. Now, it goes on and goes on. I don't need to get into all of the details. I think it's very important to note that Zion Williamson is innocent until proven guilty. I don't know what Zion Williamson did or didn't do. He had a very public falling out with the young lady last year. I'm not here to get into the sensational part of this story. And if Zion Williamson is guilty, then he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I'm willing to look past a lot of things. Violence towards women and children is not really something that I'm willing to look past. That's where I got to draw the line. We all got to draw a line somewhere. That feels like a very safe line to draw. At least talking about it from this perspective, it just feels like there's always going to be something around Zion Williamson. Always. Whether it's the weight or the health or off the court issues. His career just hasn't gone anything like I expected it or thought it was going to go. We've been having a lot of conversations in the NBA about the face of the league. Man, the face of the league at this point was supposed to be Zion. He was supposed to be next up. He was Victor Wembanyama 2-3 years before. He was a man-child. He was supposed to revolutionize the game, and he has done anything but. So I certainly want to say thoughts and prayers to everybody. I don't know what happened. I'm not here to give a definitive position until we have more of the information. But we also live in 2025. The accusation lives with you. I don't know if he did it or didn't do it, but when you Google Zion Williamson's name, this is going to come up for the rest of his life. I just don't think that's how this story was supposed to go. So I at least wanted to give you guys my opinion on that. Let's change the tone of this segment. Let's talk a little bit of college football and talk about the ongoing issues that I have right now with the SEC. I think the SEC in college football has become incredibly annoying, and I think that they have turned into massive complainers about the rules every time the rules don't suit them. So right now, they are trying to figure out a way on how to do the 14-team playoff. They had a 12-team playoff. They are only going to have that for one more year. The SEC's mad that they didn't get all the teams that they wanted in. I mean, they really think that Alabama should have been in the college football playoff despite not earning it on the field. So now, instead of telling Alabama to get better, we now have to make sure that the rules are fair so we can make sure that every team that's on the bubble can make it to the college football playoff. So there is a proposed model that the SEC wants. They want a 4-4-3-3-1 format. What does that mean? They want it guaranteed that the Big Ten and the SEC would guarantee at least get 4 teams into the college football playoff. They then want the Big 12 and the ACC to get a smaller piece of the pie. And then, you know what? I mean, here, Boise State here. We'll give you one. I mean, we've already taken up all the other games. Here, we'll give you one. We want you guys to feel like you're a part of this whole thing. Obviously, the Big 12 and the ACC don't want to sign up to a model that guarantees they'll never get as many teams in as the Big Ten and the SEC. So they're going back and forth, and they're trying to fight it. Here is Greg Sankey, quote, "I don't lecture others about good of the game, coordinated press releases about what's good for the game. I'm looking for ideas to move us forward." You know what would help college football? And I say this as a sport that I love. In some ways, college football is actually my favorite sport to watch and follow. The problem will always be simple. 2 leagues want to be treated differently and better than everybody else, and that's not how sports work. We don't treat the AFC West different than the AFC East because the Chiefs are in one of the division. We don't treat the NFC East special because the Cowboys are in their division, and we treat the AFC South differently. No, we are on the same level playing field. You get one guaranteed team in the postseason, and then everybody else, you got to earn your own keep out here. That's not the way the SEC and that's not the way the Big Ten see it. So, yes, we want to play our non-conference games in late November. We think that we should get more teams in the playoff than you should. We think that we should win every hypothetical argument when it comes to why we should be in the postseason, because if you asked Vegas, our team would win. But these games aren't played on paper. Greg Sankey was arguing that if they did this format that his own chancellors are arguing for, he was arguing that it would actually hurt SEC teams. You're telling me it would hurt SEC teams if you guaranteed get 4 of the 16 spots? How many spots do you want? We just want everybody from the SEC to make the college football playoff? That's not how this works. This is why the rest of the sport hates you and roots against you in these moments. Because you guys, instead of trying to be better than Ohio State, instead of trying to be better than Clemson or better than Notre Dame, you simply try to rig the rules in your favor. And that's not how sports are supposed to be. Have they always been like this? They couldn't have been like this in the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s. They were dominating the sport. The SEC hasn't always been this annoying, have they? Because right now, when they're trying to figure out the rules, and right now they're trying to figure out, all right, hey, how are we going to do this thing? There appears to be one conference that is making it more difficult for everybody else. It's the SEC. We don't get any stories that the Big 12 is making this difficult or the ACC is making this difficult. No, not even the Big 10. We're not even hearing that arguing about them. There's one conference that has to continuously make trouble just so we can argue if Ole Miss should get into the playoff. Well, you should have told Ole Miss to schedule better in the non-con, and they had enough chances in their regular season schedule. They missed the playoffs. I'm sorry, the SEC, they're starting to get on my nerves.
To answer your question, they've always been this annoying. They have. The difference is they've been annoying, but they've always been able to back it up. Our league's the best because we just keep winning championships. Our league's the best because we keep dominating the bowl game. Our league's the best because when we do make the playoff, we make the most noise. That was, as a non-SEC fan, what was annoying about the SEC was they carried themselves with this arrogance, but they were able to back it up. But now they 1,000% are unable to back it up. Why don't you play 9 league games? Well, we got to have that week 14 matchup against the Citadel. Why? Put a conference game there. You know, if we played hypothetical games based on Vegas spreads, our teams would be undefeated. Okay, let's put your teams in the playoffs and see what they actually do. You had one team make the semifinals, and you had one team get just roasted in the first round, and you got one team that got beat in their backyard in the quarterfinal in Georgia. Like, they have always been this annoying. But now, because of their success from like 09 to 17, they were always able to back up their talk. But now it's just talk and there's nothing backing it up. I don't want to hear about how, if South Carolina had gotten the ball to bounce one different direction, they'd be in the playoff. And that's the only how it works in the SEC. That's how it works in most leagues nowadays because we have like 17-team power leagues. Just stop, SEC.
Listen to this. There's 2 quotes that blow my mind from the SEC. I mean, they're simply telling you that they're going to try to manipulate this thing to make sure that they can get as many teams in the postseason as possible. This is from the Texas A&M athletic director. You just mentioned conference games. The SEC came out and said that them adding another conference game is dependent on how many guaranteed spots they're going to get in the postseason because they see it. Hey, well, if we have Alabama play on the road against Florida or on the road against South Carolina, when we could just have Alabama play Citadel, we think that actually helps us in trying to get as many teams in the postseason. Wait, you're telling me the same league that says it just means more is now ducking the smoke from each other? So you added all of these teams into the conference, but you're afraid to play the teams in your conference? It's weak sauce. Then listen to this. This is the most mind-blowing quote from somebody who is in administration in college athletics. This is the Florida athletic director. Their team just won the basketball championship. Quote, this is the Florida AD. We don't feel a committee is ideal in choosing a postseason. I question whether it's appropriate for college football. Wait. You're telling me an athletic director doesn't think a committee is ideal for choosing a postseason? How do we determine what teams make the NCAA tournament? A committee selects that, right? How do we choose what teams make the college baseball tournament? It's a committee, right? Like, people vote on who we think should make these things. Now we're anti-committee in college athletics? Well, then how do you guys think we should determine what teams make it in college football? Again, this isn't the NFL. In the NFL, we don't need a committee to determine what teams make the playoffs because everybody plays an equal schedule in the NFL. Everybody. If you guys want to get together and determine an equal schedule for every team in college football and make it more like the NFL with regulated rules and a salary cap, and you want to handle it like that, sure, that's great. But you guys have never shown a desire to give up some of the power that you have as entities. You guys don't move on one accord. I'm a big believer that COVID showed us the effectiveness and efficiency of some of your favorite places. Think back during that time, now 5 years ago. Think of how some of your favorite restaurants handled COVID. I mean, some of them had the takeout business. It was incredible. I remember going to Jack Stack, the one out in Lee Summit. It's not that far from where my mom lives. And just the way that they had the line set up, oh my goodness. It was A+ customer service. Hey, we're going to take your order, bring it around here, boom, boom, boom. We're going to whip it up. Hey, we appreciate you supporting local. Some of you tried to support your favorite local business during COVID, and then you finally realized how disorganized they were. This is when I realized in college football that none of the entities talk to each other. Well, this league's going to start then. This league decided, hey, well, there was no uniformity to it. The NFL moves in one accord. The NBA, baseball, they all move in one accord because they have a union, because the players represent themselves and the owners represent them. There's two sides having a conversation. Not in college football. There are the Big Ten and the SEC that do a lot of the talking. The Big 12 and the ACC do a lot of the listening and then suggest ideas that the two other conferences don't listen to. Boise State has absolutely no power. The NCAA is sitting there twiddling their thumbs trying to figure out where they fit in all of this. And they're not trying to make too much noise because they really don't need to be part of this process. We don't need you anymore. It's all messed up. You guys wanted a college football playoff, and we are seeing what the cost of that is going to be. I mean, eventually we'll get to the football part of it, and it'll be great. I mean, Saturdays in the fall, there's nothing like it. A day is sitting there on the couch, and I'm telling you, from sun up to sundown, we got great college football action. But the nonsense behind the scenes, the bickering, the arguing, the lack of uniformity, it's so silly. And the biggest culprit in all of it, the biggest culprit, it's the SEC. You guys come off as whiners, and it annoys the rest of us. Keep it right here. It's the Harrison Experience.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
The power of Dell AI with Intel Inside is transforming the world of pro sports. Teams can see curveballs coming with predictive analytics. Coaches can use AI insights to help players improve their shots in real time. And fans can get more out of every winning moment with AI-enhanced replays.
Unbelievable! What a play!
See how Dell Technologies with Intel Inside can power your wins at Dell.com/win.
The basketball playoffs are here on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on the action. The app is so simple to use. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code ROAM. Get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get the $50 bonus credit just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Spend your afternoons with Adam Epstein.
In Adam, I think we have the right leader.
Quick pass, run. Quick pass, run. Play action off of that. Take your deep shot.
He's a winner.
AWOD Radio.
He's made an incredible impact everywhere he's been.
What would the ultimate pregame look like? Where's the beer pong gonna be? Where's the twerk sesh?
On Sports Radio 910 The Fan and 105.1 FM.
This is Joe.
Your floor's looking old? The solution? 50 Floor, the ultimate flooring experience. Schedule a free in-home consultation and they'll bring hundreds of samples to your home. They have the highest quality hardwood, carpet, laminate, and luxury vinyl with the best warranties in the industry and a best price match guarantee. Make an appointment today, mention promo code PODCAST, and get 50% off your flooring and materials. Save thousands. Call 877-50-FLOOR or visit online at 50floor.com. That's 50floor.com.
Are your tires tough enough? The Nokian Tires Outpost is an all-terrain tire infused with the same fibers used in bulletproof vests. It even comes with a pothole protection warranty and is certified for snowy roads. Extend your adventures with the all-terrain Nokian Tires Outpost.
Some things you just have to experience live. Like spring meet at Churchill Downs, where amazing moments come a half mile a minute. Experience Downs After Dark, where night comes to life on May 17th and June 21st. Twilight Thursdays, where happy hour rides into the sunset through June 26th. And Family Adventure Day, where memories stack up on June 8th. This spring meet, the race exhilarates. So live in the moment and get your tickets today at churchilldowns.com.
Shopping for car insurance is confusing. Holy cow.
Great. Now we have a cow in our kitchen. Why did you say that?
Because I don't know what coverage to choose.
So just say the State Farm jingle. A State Farm agent can go over all your options with you and help choose coverage that meets your needs. Dude, cow, could you move?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Agent Ginger Roy is there. Contact Ginger for a quote today.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown. Never let kids' toys take over the house. And never fill your feed with kid photos. You'd never plan your life around their schedule. Never lick your thumb to clean their face. And you'd never let them leave the house looking like less than their best. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it. Never let them stay up too late. And never let them run wild through the grocery store.
Peanuts on aisle 6 and aisle 3.
So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now back to the Harrison Experience on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back into the Harrison Experience on the Infinity Sports Network. Coming up momentarily, we'll be joined by John Kurtz. We're going to talk some college football, a little bit more college football than we usually would at this time in the season, but they are trying to figure out the playoff structure in college football, and I'm very intrigued by this. So we'll catch up with my guy, John Kurtz. He covers Kansas State. He covers the Big 12. I want to get a Big 12 perspective on this because the Big 12 and the ACC, they seem like the conferences that are going to be out in the cold, so to speak, when it comes to this. Before we talk a little college football, I just want to remind you guys how cool baseball games are and that you should go. I got a chance last night to go to the Royals and Tigers game. And I don't know, man, there's just something about it. 70 degrees outside. You get yourself a hot dog. You're outdoors. It was a firework Friday. It was a good game. There's just something magical about going to a baseball game. So I don't know the last time that you went to a baseball game. Maybe you also went to a baseball game yesterday. Maybe you plan on going today. I don't know your life. But I'm telling you right now, go to a baseball game. You will not regret the decision. I don't even care if you don't live in a big league town. Maybe there's a minor league team that's there. Minor league baseball is a lot of fun. Don't think just because I live in Kansas City and we got a major league team that I'm not used to minor league baseball. I grew up watching the Royals. I watched a lot of minor league baseball in my time. I just want to encourage you guys to go out and head to a baseball game. Let's go to the phone lines right now and be joined by a good friend of mine. His name is John Kurtz. He covers college football, and right now there are a lot of changes being proposed in the sport. I want to get your read on this because every problem that they are having right now in expanding the college football playoffs, it sounds like it's coming from the SEC. It doesn't sound like a Big Ten issue. It doesn't sound like an ACC, Big 12 issue. It sounds like right now the conference that has been the most difficult in trying to figure out how to move forward, this sounds like a problem that is an SEC problem.
I think the SEC is just having to bear the brunt of what both they and the Big Ten are doing. And this is, Greg Sankey is being very, very whiny lately, which is quite annoying because, this is born on third base, feels like he hit a triple guy leading the SEC that is also leading the charge to just do irreversible damage to college sports and college football specifically. But I will defend him in this right. Tony Petitti is the commissioner of the Big Ten. The Big Ten is right on board with everything the SEC is doing. They have been meeting jointly now for the last year plus. They're all in lockstep on all these horrible decisions that they want to make that are not in everybody's best interest. But Tony Petitti doesn't do media. He doesn't come from the college sports world. So, one, I don't think he cares as much if he is vilified because Greg Sankey's somebody that's been here the whole time and he has all these relationships throughout college sports. So it probably hurts him a little bit more to be, kind of a punching bag and people taking out their frustration on him. But also he's the guy that's like willing to do media. And Petitti just doesn't say anything. Like the Big Ten had their meetings. They didn't do there was hardly any. You didn't see any quotes or really anything coming out after that, certainly not from Petitti. The SEC has its spring meetings where they're talking about all the same stuff. And you have coaches coming out and talking. Kalen DeBoer is still whining about strength of schedule when, I'm sorry, you inherited Nick Saban's freaking Corvette and you're losing to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and can't get to the playoff. Just shut up about complaining about your schedule. But Sankey can't control all of that. So there's all this whining coming from the SEC, and he's doing media. And so people are like, well, look, we haven't talked to anybody else about this horrible playoff format that you guys want. We haven't talked to anybody else about all these other big decisions that you're trying to make right now. So you got to be the one to answer for it. And he's getting really defensive, being like, well, I don't want to be lectured about doing things in the best interest of the sport because people think we're not doing that. I mean, that's really what you have going on right now. So it's kind of more of just a circumstance issue for Greg Sankey more than it is anything else. But make no mistake, I mean, what the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to do right now is horrible. It's absolutely horrible for the sport.
I mean, I'm just hearing some of these conversations that the SEC is having. We literally had the athletic director at Florida say that he doesn't know if there is a place in college athletics for a committee to help determine the postseason. I'm sitting there thinking a committee helps determine every postseason in college athletics. Like, this isn't a football thing. How do you determine who makes the NCAA tournament? A committee helps decide it. College baseball, who do you think determines who goes to these things? A committee is a part of the process. I also heard Greg Sankey say that he thinks that college football is more about not losing than it is about who you play and who you beat. That's been college football from the very, very beginning, that being undefeated has outweighed anything else in the sport. I just feel like the SEC is now complaining about a system that they have been a part of now for over 100 years.
Well, it's also a system that has benefited them immensely over the last couple of decades. Like, CDOT, take the basketball committee, right? How many SEC teams got in the freaking tournament last year? Yeah, a committee did you guys pretty well, okay? Yes, the SEC did not this past year get everything they wanted from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. The one time that has happened in the history of the playoff. All we have to do is go back 2 years. What did Sankey say? Oh, it's actually just about going undefeated and not who you played. Has Sankey checked in Tallahassee to see how they feel about that? Does he remember what happened 2 years ago when Florida State went unbeaten and did not get into the college football playoff, and instead they threw in, Alabama? Here's what happened, CDOT. The SEC for once did not get over the top preferential treatment this past year in the playoff, and they are losing their collective minds because of it. That's a part of it. The other part of it, and what they're really trying to set you up for, what they want to do with the playoff is go to this 4 auto bid scenario where the SEC and Big Ten would each get 4 auto bids every single year. The Big 12 and the ACC would get 2. The group of 6 would get 1, and then you'd have an at-large spot. Or 3, depending on if you're going to 14 or 16. Why they want that is because it not only guarantees them 4 spots, but it unlocks a lot of things. It would allow them to go to 9 conference games, which means more money because there would be better TV matchups. They are afraid to do that if it's all at-large bids because they think, hey, if we play another conference game, that's another likely loss or potential loss on our schedule that could hurt us there. So they want a ninth conference game. They also want to do a non-conference scheduling agreement with the Big Ten, which would basically lock out anybody else from getting a non-conference game against a Big Ten or an SEC school. So they want to do both of those things, which, again, get them more money so that they can pay the rev share stuff. Their TV contracts would go up because they'd have better inventory there if they have that type of scheduling agreement. The last thing that they want to do is they want to ditch conference championship games, but basically double the amount of money they're going to get from TV on conference championship weekend. So what they would do is if you're the conference champ, you don't have to play in a conference championship game that weekend. But if you've got 4 spots, the last 2 are up for grabs on that last weekend when you would be playing a conference championship game. So you'd have like a 3v6, 4v5, couple of matchups there. So TV can still get their money and actually double because we'll all be watching. There are stakes there. Winner goes to the playoff, loser goes home. That's what they want. That's really why they want this 4 auto bid thing and why they're pushing so hard for all of this and whining about all these things. And yes, they want to get rid of the selection committee because they want it all to be, we get auto bids. We don't have to worry about ever getting screwed again like we did this past year, all for money and setting it up as best as they can to try and, rev share and do whatever it is that they want to do moving forward. So all these decisions, there are a million reasons why a lot of that stuff is just terrible and there's so much collateral damage to the rest of the sport. But that is the other undercurrent to all this that you really need to understand why the tone is what it is coming out of the SEC.
Right now, we're talking to John Kurtz here, just going through some of the changes in college football. What proposal would you have? Because I am all for something that gives it a little bit more structure and uniformity. We don't have these conversations in the NFL. The NFL schedule is an algorithm. Hey, you're going to play these 3 teams because they're in your division. You're going to play this AFC conference, this NFC conference. We also have a formula to determine what other team you're going to play in the league. We don't complain about how the schedule comes together in the NFL. Everyone signs up for this algorithm. In college football, we all know you can manipulate your schedule in such a way that you can build a playoff resume or so. That I want uniformity so we can determine who the best teams are. If you had to propose a system and a structure for the postseason, what structure would you put together?
I'll tell you exactly what I would do. Like what they initially had was a pretty good idea if you turn the clock back to 2020 or June of 2021 before Texas and Oklahoma left. If you still have 5 power conferences that are all relatively equal and you just grant a spot to the conference champion and then top 4 rated conference champions get the buys, like everything works out pretty well. Again, the SEC ruined all of this by taking Texas and Oklahoma and starting us down this path. And that's total different tangent here. But what's frustrating for me is I'm seeing now that the public tide has turned, even from all the national sports writers out there, to, wow, screw the SEC and Big Ten. They're doing really bad things here, which that's great. I'm glad that they're finally on board with that. But the problem is many of them were also cheerleading this stuff when it started with Texas and Oklahoma and destroying the Pac-12 and pulling USC, UCLA away to the Big Ten and then Oregon and Washington. People were kind of cheerleading that as it happened, like, oh, look at this. That's great. Rich get richer. Well, this is the end game of it. You're just seeing the results of all of that now. So it screwed up. What they had is actually, I think, a pretty good setup for how they were going to do the playoff initially. So that's why we are where we're at. As far as that goes, the other model that you're seeing a lot right now is the 4 Power 4 conference champions all get an auto bid. Then you have 1 for the group of 6, and then you have 11 at-large bids. So it's basically conference champ gets in, everybody else is just at large. That seems to be gaining a lot of steam and momentum. I think that's probably about as good as you could do right now or expect. I think that's the one that actually has a legitimate chance if the SEC and Big Ten decide to give in and do something good for the betterment of the sport, because that's what it would be. They have the power in the agreement, the memorandum of understanding they have for the 26 playoff and beyond. The Big Ten and the SEC get to call the shots. So it's just whether or not they want to force this through and be the bad guys, or if they want to actually consider this other format, which is, again, 5 conference champions and then 11 at-large spots, which, by the way, I think if you're a Big 12 fan, is actually worse for you than the 4-4-2-2-2 in terms of how many teams you would get in every year. Because, look at this year. BYU finished 17th in the playoff rankings. Even if you had a 16-team playoff, they wouldn't have gotten in. You would have only had 1 team in. You get 2 guaranteed in the other one, but the problem is you're also literally signing a sheet of paper then that says, hey, we are half the value of the SEC and Big Ten. And I think what everybody really wants to see right now in the sport is not making this an invitational, make it something that is earned. You have to go out there on the field instead of just guaranteeing conferences different spots, which, year over year could really affect whether or not teams are actually earning their way into the play.
That is my guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show. Really love talking college football with him and getting his perspective on the proposed changes that could be coming to college football. College football, honestly, might be my favorite sport. I mean, I love the National Football League. Don't get me wrong. There's just something magical about those Saturdays in the fall. We'll continue to bounce back and forth. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk some NBA playoffs. We're also going to get you ready for Game 6 coming up later today between the Knicks and the Pacers. There's a lot going on right now, so why don't we update you? Keep it locked in right here on the Harrison Experience on the Infinity Sports Network.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Hey, Carrington, this is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Game 6 Eastern Conference Finals on tap tonight. Tip-off between the Knicks and Pacers from Gainbridge Fieldhouse set for 8 p.m. Eastern. New York coming off a dominant Game 5 victory, forcing 20 Pacers turnovers. Tyrese Halliburton held in check, scoring just 8 points on 2 of 7 shooting. The Pacers' Pascal Siakam expecting a better effort in front of the home crowd on Saturday.
We're up 3-2 in the series, and we have an opportunity to go back home and, and show what we're made of. And I have no doubt in my teammates, and I have so much faith in them. And, I know that we're gonna give everything we got.
The Knicks win Game 7 set for Monday night from Madison Square Garden. Baseball, the Yankees and Dodgers continue their World Series rematch tonight from Dodger Stadium at 7:15 Eastern. Dodgers without Mookie Betts in the starting lineup this weekend, according to skipper Dave Roberts. Betts dealing with a stubbed left toe. He's not expected to go on the injured list. NFL, the 49ers and Eagles finalizing a trade that would send defensive lineman Bryce Huff to San Francisco. Huff expected to reunite with his former Jets head coach Robert Saleh. Now the Niners defensive coordinator. Huff signing a 3-year, $51 million deal with Philly last offseason, but recorded just 2.5 sacks in 12 games. Huff a career-high 10 sacks under Saleh in 2023. Golf, the Memorial continuing this afternoon in Dublin, Ohio. Nick Taylor and Ben Griffin entering the day tied for the lead at 7 under. French Open right now. Jessica Pegula and Yannick Sinner advancing to the round of 16 this morning. Carlos Alcaraz, Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul, Francis Tiafoe, all winners on Friday. With your sports flash at the bottom of every hour. Have a great Saturday, everybody. I'm Justin Rock.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're gonna be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
The basketball playoffs are here on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on the action. The app is so simple to use. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code ROAM. Get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get the $50 bonus credit just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Spend your afternoons with Adam Epstein.
In Adam, I think we have the right leader.
Quick pass, run. Quick pass, run. Play action off of that. Take your deep shot.
He's a winner.
AWOD Radio.
He's made an incredible impact everywhere he's been.
What would the ultimate pregame look like? Where's the beer pong gonna be? Where's the twerk sesh?
On Sports Radio 910 The Fan and 105.1 FM.
Your floor's looking old? The solution? 50 Floor, the ultimate flooring experience. Schedule a free in-home consultation and they'll bring hundreds of samples to your home. They have the highest quality hardwood, carpet, laminate, and luxury vinyl with the best warranties in the industry and a best price match guarantee. Make an appointment today, mention promo code PODCAST, and get 50% off your flooring and materials. Save thousands. Call 877-50-FLOOR or visit online at 50floor.com. That's 50floor.com.
Shopping for car insurance is confusing. Holy cow.
Great. Now we have a cow in our kitchen. Why did you say that?
Because I don't know what coverage to choose.
So just say the State Farm jingle. A State Farm agent can go over all your options with you and help choose coverage that meets your needs. Dude, cow, could you move?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Agent Ginger Roy is there. Contact Ginger for a quote today.
Caring for aging loved ones is a testament of devotion and dedication. A time when every new day is more precious than the one before. Pre-planning a celebration of life and paying in advance affords both of you more time to focus on each other, while the details are handled with professionalism and compassion by a partner as dedicated to you as you are to them. We're Dignity Memorial. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Every 36 seconds, a vehicle is stolen in the United States. You have the power to protect your car. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows completely, and always lock your doors and take your keys or fob. If you know something about a vehicle theft, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB.
On this wonderful, wonderful Saturday. We've had a lot of fun today, and I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. Let me remind you that this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easiest way to get life insurance in just 10 minutes with up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. To get your free quote, check out ethos.com, not available in all states. Coming up in a little bit, I want to give you guys some quick thoughts on college football, but let's start in the NBA. I don't know what the Pacers were on in Game 5. The Pacers played with an energy of, doesn't really matter. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton took 7 shots, 7 in the game. Miles Turner took 3. I didn't misspeak. Miles Turner took 3. Aaron Nesmith took 8. Andrew Nembhard also took 8. When Obi Toppin, who comes off the bench, took 10 shots and took more than Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner, if you combine their 2 shot attempts, he took as many as they took. It lets me know, hey, what were the Pacers on today? The Pacers played like a team that knew they could afford to lose this game. Well, now you're going back home for Game 6. And this game's really important. If I'm the Pacers, I'm treating later today like a Game 7. That's how I'm treating it. We're back in our building. We're in front of our fans. Let's go take care of business and let's go home. Let's go home. I think it's clear that the Pacers are the better team out of these two. I think it's clear. I think it's been obvious.